Permutation combination, lecture number 2. We ended our lecture number 1 with the same case number 1, where it says arrange the alphabet that they either start with A or B. And this was from what? Case number 1, which was a non-repeated case, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So still we'll continue with non-repeated case. And non-repeated case is case number 1. Case 1. Again, it's a non-repeated letters or numbers, we can say. And we had A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So we have altogether 7 alphabets. The question says that arrange the alphabets that it starts and ends with consonants. Now, you need to understand that what are consonants? Consonants are non-vowel letters. Consonants are non-vowel letters. So, since we had A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so your vowels are A and E. So, your consonants will be B, C, D, F, and G. So, these are your consonants, these are your vowels. The question clearly says, arrange the alphabet that starts and ends with consonant. So, how many alphabets did we had? We had 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, if it starts and ends with consonant, we had altogether 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consonants. We had 5 consonants. So, that means if I use the first blank, I can only place 1 consonant out of 5. So, I can say this should be 5C1. And in the end, since I have the other consonant as well, but obviously out of 5, 1 was placed in the first blank. So in the end, it should be 4C1. Similarly, how many blanks do we are left with in the middle? We have left with 5 blanks. So this should be what? 5 factorial in the middle, because after the first blank, if you look into it, the first blank was taken by consonant. The last blank was taken by consonant. Out of 5, 2 consonants were used. Since 2 consonants were used, the remaining consonants will still be in the middle. And somewhere in the middle, because they will be arranging themselves. So considering that aspect, we can easily say 5C1 into 5 factorial into 4C1 will be the normal equation. The answer for this will be 2400 ways. So, moving to another example of case 1, the question says that arrange the alphabet that starts and ends with a vowel. Now, in the same case, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, I know that A, E is vowel and consonant is B, C, D, F, G, and C. So, considering that that starts and ends with vowel, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many vowels we had? We had 2 vowels. So, in the first place, it should be 2C1. Out of 2, only 1 vowel can come in the first position. Since obviously out of 2, 1 came, so there would be only 1 remaining for the last one. So it should be 1C1. And in the middle, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 places, so it should be 5 factorial. So the answer would be 2C1 into 5 factorial into what? 1C1. So it is 240 ways. That means the movement of having 1 vowel at the start and vowel in the end will be 240. Similarly, if the question goes with considering that arrange the alphabet, arrange the alphabet such that it starts with a vowel and ends with a consonant. Now there is a limitation that the question clearly mentioned that it starts with a vowel and ends with a consonant. Since the question has the limitation here, so what we're going to do is we're going to make the blanks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the question says it starts with vowel. We had two vowels, A and E. So this should be 2C1. We had two vowels and we had 5 consonants. So in the end, it should be 5C1. Because for vowels, we had only 2 options. Out of 2, I can select only 1. In the last, we had 5 consonants. So out of 5, we will be selecting 1. But considering that 1 vowel and 4 consonants are left, those will be placed somewhere in the middle. But we do not have any restriction for these values. So this should be 5 factorial. So 2C1 into 5 factorial into 5C1. So the answer for this would be again 1200 ways. Now, just considering the same question. Now, considering the same question, let's just see what does English has to do in this. Your English is much needed to understand the question. So, similarly, the question says arrange the alphabet such that it starts with vowel and ends with consonant. And the question clearly says or vice versa. So that means the question is very open to that it can also start with consonant and it can end with vowel. So what we need to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's have 2 blanks. In the first part, it says vowel and consonant. So 2C1 and 5C1 and in the middle 5 factorial. So these are the 2 options, vowel, consonant. Now we'll go for consonant and vowel, 5C1, 5 factorial and 2 factorial. If you see, the answer for this was 1200. So option number 1, since it was 1200, option number 2, it was 1200. So the answer is 2400 ways. But similarly, you can also use the method where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Initially, it says it starts with vowel and ends with consonant. So vowel is 2C1, this is 5C1 and 5 factorial in the middle. So if I say 2C1 into 5 factorial into 5C1 and I apply 2 factorial in it. Why am I applying 2 factorial in it? That there might be a position, there might be a concept that your vowel and consonant can change the places. So when I am applying that 2 factorial thing, so this 1200 multiplied by 2 factorial means 1200 multiplied by 2 into 1. So 1200 multiplied by 2 is again 2400. So in this case, you can also do the direct method, but I would always recommend you to do as the pure understanding method that you feel that you can do it. So either you start with vowel, you end with consonant, or you start with consonant and end with vowel, you show them separately, or you show them together. The examiner will always give you the right answer, mark you right if the answer is correct, if the proper formatting is right over it. Okay, G. Another example with the same case, case number 1, non-repeated alphabet, and the alphabets were A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now, the question says arrange the alphabet such that A, B, C are all separated from each other. When the question clearly says that they are all separated from each other, so that means out of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, we had in total of A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. We had 7 different alphabets. So if I just separate A, B, and C, so we are just left with D, E, F, and G. If we note, since we have D, E, F, G, these D, E, F, G can be in any position. When they are in any position, we will be using 4 factorial. Because the positions will be changed, we need to arrange D, E, F, G. Now, considering that I need to place A, B, C separately. So, what I'll be doing is, I'll make sure that A, B, C, D are separated with the gap. That means either if it one letter can be before D, it can be after D, or it can be before E, after E, it can be before F, after F, it can be before G and after G. So if I place any one letter, so obviously the gaps will reduce. Then if I place second letter, the gaps will reduce. Then I place the third letter. So what we need to understand is how many gaps do we have? So in total, if you see a gap before D, I can place a letter before D. Then we can place a letter between D and E. We can place a letter between E and F. We can place a letter between F and G. And we can also place a letter after G so that they are separated. So if I see that to place A, B, C, D, I have 5 gaps. I have 5 gaps. To place to place A, B, C, I'll make sure I place each letter at a time. So out of 5 gaps, if I put A, so what we do is we will apply 5C1, because if 5C1 means that I am putting A in one of these 5 gaps. Then when I have placed A in one of the 5 gaps, how many gaps we are left with? We are left with 4 gaps. So when we are left with 4 gaps, I am placing B now. So it should be 4C1. Now, when A and B are placed in the gap, out of 5, 2 gaps are filled in. So we are left with only 3 gaps. So that means this should be 3C1. So considering just the example 4 factorial for movement of D, E, F, G, because these will be moved. 5C1 is for A, 4C1 is for B, and 3C1 is for C. That means putting down A, B, C in different gaps. Gap are these. These are your gaps. So we have in total of 5 gaps. So the end result for this will be 4 factorial 5C1, 4C1, 3C1, which is 1440. This can also be used in this, that we can also do this with the same question. 4 factorial will be used. 4 factorial will be used. What does these 5C1, 3C1, 4C1 means? 5C1, 4C1, 3C1 means that we are selecting 3 gaps directly. That means we are putting down 3 A, B, C in the 3 gaps, but we'll make sure that we substitute 3 factorial, or we'll make sure we do 3 factorial, because A, B, C means that they can be positioned anywhere in the gap as well. But selecting those 3 gaps are important, because once you select the 3 gaps, you can put any letter anywhere. But to put any letter anywhere, you will be using what? 3 factorial. So the end result will be 1440 again. Now, another example question from the same case, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So if it is A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, A and B are separated. So we are left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 factorial for the movement of the letters that are left behind. So if there are 5 factorial for the movement, we know that there will be 6 gaps. 6 gaps considering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the red marked 6 gaps, right? Now, if I place it should be 6C1, then it will be what, 5C1. Or we can easily do 5 factorial into 6C2 into 2 factorial. The answer would be 20. 3600. 3600. 3600. The answer would be 3600. Case 2. Now, case 2 is simple selection. Simple selection means there will be data given to you and you will be asked to create a team. You will be asked to create a group, or you will be asked to make sure that the people are together in any form. So, considering this, let's just take down the example of the question. The question says select a team of 4 people without restriction. Now, knowing the fact that we have in total 1 plus 2 plus 8, that means in total of 11 people in the total group. Now, from 11 people, there's no restriction that a president should be must, or a member should be must, or an assistant should be must. That means there is no restriction. That means anybody can be part of that team. Since anybody can be part of that team, so out of that 11 in the team, we can directly select 4. So that means it should be what, 11C4 will be the answer, which means there would be 330 ways. There would be 330 ways. Similarly, if the question would have said, select a team of 4 which must have president in it. Now, since in the part 1 there was no restriction, we made sure that we can involve anybody, and we wrote down what, 11C4 for that, right? But now the question is very clear at a point that we need to have a president. And when we need to have president, we know that we have one president. And that one president comes, right? Out of what, 11, if one goes, you are left with what, 10. Out of 11, when one is gone, you are left with what, 10. And since you need to add 4 people, now president is selected, now you'll be taking what, 3 people altogether. So that means the answer would be 1C1 for the president confirmation, 1C1 because out of 1, obviously you need to select 1. But since the president is selected, now you have 10 members left. So from the 10 members, you'll be selecting 3 members, because from those 3 members, you do not have any restriction. You just had restriction to involve the president, which you did, and you involved it through using 1C1. But out of those 10 people, you can select 3 more people to have the team of 4. So the answer for this is 120. Similarly, in the same way, the question says 1 president and 2 assistant, 8 members. Let's say if it is select a team of 4 which must include the president and any one of assistant. Now, to make it very clear that you had 11 people altogether. Out of those 11 people, you had 1 president, 2 assistant, and 8 members. One of the president is confirmed. So if 1 president is confirmed, now you need to select 3 more people. But for those 3 more people, you need to have any one of the assistant. For that, you need to have any one of the assistant. Out of two, you can select only one. If you have selected one, it says any one of the assistant. That means the second assistant cannot come. There is a restriction that any one of the assistant can come, right? So the second assistant cannot come, which means the remaining two will be selected from 8 members. The remaining two will be selected from 8 members. So if we just write down the value for this, this should be written as that 1C1 is for the president. 1C1 is for the president because president is confirmed. Out of the two assistant, only one is coming. So this should be 2C1. And we know that since one assistant comes in, the second cannot because any one can be selected. That means the remaining two participants in the team will be from the members, and the members are 8C2. So what we can have is, we can have the answer for this will be 56. The answer for this is 56. Now let's just work upon select a team of 4 which must include both of assistant and the president. Now that means the president takes along both the assistant with them. Now that particularly means that we had one president, 2 assistant and 8 members. This goes in whole, this goes in whole. That means 1 plus 2, 3 people are already selected. You need to select 1. The remaining will be selected from what? Members. So the answer would be 1C1 for the president, 2C2 for the members, or 2C2 for the assistant because that is confirmation. So 2 out of 2 will be selected. The remaining will be what? 8C1. The answer for this will be 8. The answer for this will be 8. Similarly, if the question goes on saying that select a team of 4, select a team of 4 which must include the president but not any of assistant. Now the question is very clear. The president is coming along. We knew that we had 1 president, 2 assistant and 8 members. Now we know this, that president is coming. So 1C1 is there. But no assistant is coming along. So that means if out of 4, 1 is president, you are remaining with 3 team members. So those 3 team members will be selected from what? 8C3. So that should mean that 8C3, 3 members are selected from 8. So the answer for this is 56 members, or 56 are the ways that the team of 4 can be selected out of these people.